Welcome to the show. I'm Danella. Here's what's happening now. Starting the show with the heavy heart. All of us are following the situation out of Parkland, Florida. It's just so tragic to see something like this happen in our country yet again, a mass shooting at a high school. And then as details start coming out, at least 17 people dead. And then to hear that the shooter had such a troubling past. You know, they said that he was abusive to his girlfriend. They said that the teachers were worried about him. The teachers said that he couldn't walk around the school with a book bag. That's what one of the teachers reported. Also knowing that he spent some time in a mental institution, but still somehow is able to get a weapon of the caliber that he has. And seriously, we have to say to ourselves, as tragic as it is, unfortunately, I think we're no longer shocked. You know, as much as our hearts are breaking, as much as we're sad, I don't think as a community that we're shocked because we keep seeing these things happen. It's really, really unbelievable. And I'm going to be honest with you. I can't even really watch what's happening. To be honest with you, it's hard for me to even just follow all the stories, you know, and I feel so powerless. I don't know. Do you feel the same? Powerless. And it's so frustrating to me that there's so many laws protecting gun owners. I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that it is harder to get a puppy at the pound or a cat. Do you know how hard it is to adopt a cat? Seriously, or a puppy? They come to your home. You can't just go to ASPCA or go into any kind of a shelter and think you're going to leave with a pet that same day. No, they come to your house and do a home visit. I actually know 2 people that have been denied pets. And it's so easy for you to just go into a store and get a gun. And I mean, what type of hunting would you be doing with a weapon of that caliber? None. It's just truly crazy. And then to also know that the FBI was notified about the shooter a year ago because he left a comment under a YouTube vlogger's video basically saying that he was a professional school shooter. And thank God that that vlogger notified the FBI. And still, there's so many ways that, you know, something could have been called and it wasn't. And it really, really just makes me question this government that we live in. The government that we live in that allows you to buy guns easier than you can adopt an animal. Especially if you have a mental health history. If you have any history with mental health problems, how is it that you can still go out and buy a gun? You shouldn't be able to do that. I want to read you this quote that Trump said. He said, "No child, teacher, or anyone else should ever feel unsafe in an American school." So this is going to lead us right into political pop. Here is your political pop for Friday, February the 16th. We're going to talk about what Trump says and what he's actually doing. He says that no child, teacher, or anyone else should ever feel unsafe in an American school. He also says that he wants to focus on mental health and school safety. But let's talk about his budget. He's doing a major slash in Medicaid. And keep in mind, Medicaid is a major source for mental health treatment for low-income families. And he wants to slash that. Medicaid serves more than 70 million low-income families. Want to slash that budget, but you say you want to support mental health. And let's talk about safe schools. He says he wants the schools safer, but here's what the budget says. The budget wants to actually slash funding for national school safety initiatives by nearly $25 million in 2019. Now keep in mind, this year's projected funding is $67.5 million. You want school safety, but you're going to cut that money in half. How can we trust what he says when it doesn't match what he does? We just can't. And that is your political pop. Now we're going to go into something that you might want to talk about Monday at the water cooler. Modern science has done something I did not think was possible. Here's what they did. For the first time in recorded history, a transgendered woman is able to breastfeed her child. Here's what happened. The woman had been on hormones for about 6 years, and she did not have gender reassignment, meaning, down below was still intact, but in all other ways, a female. Her partner was having the baby, and the partner did not want to breastfeed the baby. So the transgendered woman, 30 years old, went to her doctor because she wanted to see if it was possible for her to breastfeed the child. And so here's what the doctors did. The doctors were able to do hormone therapy. And here's what the hormone therapy was. The hormone therapy was, of course, male hormone blockers, but also hormone treatment from mothers who are biological mothers. And I did not know about this, but let's say if you were an adoptive mother and you wanted to breastfeed your adoptive child, they can give you hormones that can help you lactate. So they applied this to the transgendered woman coupled with a breast pump. And so by the marvel of science, she's been able to breastfeed her baby. She was able to exclusively breastfeed the baby for 6 weeks, and then went on to adding formula into the baby's diet because she wasn't able to produce enough milk. And now 6 months later, she's able to breastfeed the baby as well as supplement the milk with formula. And they say the baby is growing just fine. So apparently the doctors are saying they've heard cases like this before, but this is the first case on record. I'm still shocked that science can do this. I didn't even know that they were able to allow women the opportunity to start, lactating if you didn't physically birth your baby. I had no idea. And now to be able to do this for transgendered women, it's amazing. Also, water cooler talk for you on Monday. Happy Meals are getting a little less happy for some kids, probably happier for parents. And I remember back in the day for me, I used to love to get Happy Meals with a cheeseburger and a milkshake. Well, now what they're doing is totally taking off cheeseburgers from Happy Meals. They're also taking off chocolate milk. They're trying to put chocolate milk back on if they could figure out a way to make it less sugary. They say they want to have Happy Meals have less than 600 calories and less than 650 milligrams of sodium. It's a lot of sodium. And they also want the Happy Meals to be 10% less calories from saturated fat and added sugar. So happier for parents. Kids are like, what? I can't get my cheeseburger. So that'll start in June. So if your kids like cheeseburgers, you can still order it, but you can't get it from the Happy Meal. Also in the news, Jim Carrey is putting his money where his mouth is. A lot of times people make statements like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and they do nothing. Well, Jim Carrey is doing something. He's mad at the fact that Facebook was complicit in helping Russia meddle with our elections. And Jim Carrey is saying they're still not doing anything about it. So here's what he did. He dumped his Facebook stock. He's also deleting his page, and I don't blame him. He tweeted out his anger along with the hashtag unfriend Facebook. And he's encouraging you to do the same thing. Speaking of meddling and Russia, did you notice this week that Bannon was interviewed by the special counsel for 20 hours? Ooh, can't wait to hear what happened there. 20 hours. That's intense. That 20 hours of stuff to talk about in relation to Russia meddling. I cannot wait to hear this. And now we're going to head over to In Our World. I talked about this last week, and that is men makeup. Yes, I'm talking men. We're not talking feminine. We're talking men. And it's a huge, huge craze in Korea. Take a look at this guy. He's wearing makeup, but he looks so natural. Looks like he's well rested. Nah, he's wearing makeup. Yeah. And I wanted to bring this up because I know I have a vast amount of men that watch the show. Thank you so much. According to analytics and the messages that I get, thank you so much. And I want to know, men are starting to do more. You see more men getting manicures and pedicures, not polished, but just, cutting the cuticles, at least keeping the nails trim and clean. You see more men dyeing their hair now. You see that. You see that now. You also see men dyeing their beards. You know, why not? Just for men. Do it. Shampoo it in. Look younger. It's all good. And so my question is, how would you feel about actually wearing makeup? And you can see, let's take a couple more looks here. Not makeup to look feminine, but makeup to just look more handsome and relaxed and well rested. And so the men in Korea are saying this, especially with K-pop. They're not trying to necessarily look as made up, but it's more acceptable. They also say they do things like get on a really good skin regimen and then, maybe use a BB cream, just a little. I feel kind of crazy saying this, but I know it's culturally speaking, everything is culturally. So here in America, I would reckon to say it's unheard of, but I don't know, as men become more masculine, what's wrong with a little tinted, I feel crazy even saying this, tinted lotion for your face to make you look more well rested. I'm not sure. I'm going to tell you this, though, when I think about it. I think in general, I'm pretty open. In general, I don't know if you noticed this, but I tend to try really hard not to be judgmental. There's certain things that in life, I have to battle my judgment on, People cheating on their spouses, I try to battle my judgment on that. But specifically with men, I think about it. I'm like, what if my husband were to come home and, he's like, I'm just putting on my BB cream. I'm looking a little pale. These are things that I say often in the winter. I'm like, oh, I need some sun. I look too pale. So I wonder if he comes home one day and he's like, I've been waking up really early and going to sleep really late. I need a little something, maybe a little under eye to make me look not as tired. And I really think if he were to say that, I might look at him a little side eye. I think I would. And my mom, my family, old school, my mom taught me this. I just remember this so vividly. She said, Danella, my mother and grandmother said this, Danella, never date a man who takes longer to get ready than you do. They were trying to say that he would care about himself more than you. I don't know what that parallel is, but that's what they would say. Like he would be more into himself than he would be into you. So that's what I learned growing up. So I wonder, if my husband was like, it's just a tinted moisturizer. But in general, though, for the record, men, I'm not mad with a little bit of hair dye if you want to do that. I know men that do that, shampoo dyeing. Not mad at that. Some guys do a little filler color. Not mad at that. But I think I feel a little weird about the makeup. Like if we're both passing like, oh, that's my color. Let me borrow your blush. It's kind of weird to me. But it's all the rage in Korea. South Korea, they're getting it popping. Yes, they're killing it, looking well rested. So yeah, I just put it out there for you guys. And I want to know, men, how do you feel about that? Would you consider it? It really is a cultural thing. Or is it? All right. So yeah, now we're about to wrap up the show. We're still in my family recovering. The neurovirus trying to hold us all down, but we're just getting stronger every day. So thank you so much for just being patient with me. Thank you so much for your well wishes. I really super appreciate that. I just want to ask that you continue to pray. Put love and light into the world. We need it. This world, we need a healing. Pray for strength. Pray for peace. And while we pray, we have to take to the streets. You need to take to the polls. We need to stand up and fight for more gun control. We need it. I know some people feel that we don't need it. I think we need it. If people have mental illness, there needs to be some sort of checks and balances. It cannot be harder to buy a dog. It cannot be harder to get a cat than it is to get a gun in this country. It can't be. How can it be? It cannot be. It's disgusting. There's no way you can say you're standing up for safety in our schools, but you cut funding for mental health. It's truly just a very difficult time in our country, to say the least. But we must continue to fight any way that we can. Fight for what is right, fight for what we believe in, and work together. So as always, thank you so much for joining the show. I wish you an incredible weekend, and I will see you next week.